And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Reg Singh and Nat Rosenthal.
Hey. How are you doing today? My name's Nat Rosenthal. I'm a Vice President of Customer Success.
Hi everyone, I'm Reg Singh and I lead our education services team here at NetSuite, and welcome to Newish to NetSuite.
Thanks. So our first thing, like every presentation we have, is a safe harbor statement, which will show up in just a second, because I have the slide thing right here.
Kalika.
That's why it didn't move forward. All right. So my name's Nat Rosenthal, and I started at NetSuite about 8 years ago. And prior to that, I spent about 15 years developing. Actually, my first job was as an Oracle developer. So I did development, implementation, support of various ERP implementations, both large and small. And one of the reasons that I came to NetSuite was I had this amazing opportunity to have a job that connected support, training, delivery, and sales, and so sort of sit at this hub. And NetSuite, and we'll talk a lot about it today when you hear from our guests and you hear Reg and I talk about, is that NetSuite looks at it holistically. You know, and Evan talked about it today. We want to be part of your journey. And so NetSuite takes us on this journey. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And so that's the reason why I'm at NetSuite.
Nat has this amazing background in really helping customers succeed. My journey was a little bit different to NetSuite. I'm a CPA by trade, and I worked for many years for consumer product companies, Gillette, Procter & Gamble. I then joined a very small education startup, and we started searching for a scalable, easy-to-use, cost-effective ERP system, and that search led us to NetSuite. And I was a customer of NetSuite for many years. We grew our small startup education business from a handful of users to thousands of users, all with NetSuite. And I love the company so much that I actually joined NetSuite just over 8 years ago. And I've been in some pretty interesting roles in NetSuite, really focused on helping customers like you succeed. But for the last 2 years, I've been focused specifically on education and how do we leverage education and learning and help you really take advantage of our tools to figure out how you can grow and how you can address your business challenges. So super exciting to be here.
It's great to be here.
So this session is all about being newish to NetSuite. Now you might be like, well, what does that mean? Well, NetSuite has over 32,000 customers. You saw Evan talk about that this morning. And some of us have been with us for a long time, but for many of you, the journey is just beginning. In fact, 40% of our customers have been on NetSuite for less than 2 years. And Nat, I was thinking we should do some kind of a pulse check of this room.
We can do that.
And see how newish.
Okay, so we're going to try something. We've never tried it at Suite World before, so let's all hope it goes well. So what we'd like to do is to have if everybody that's a customer of NetSuite, please stand up. All right, that's awesome. All right, if you've been live on NetSuite for 3 years or more, please sit down. All right, if you've been live on NetSuite for 2 years or more, please sit down. All right, if you've been live on NetSuite for 1 year or more, please sit down. All right, if you've been live on NetSuite for 6 months or more, please sit down. Let's see over there, I got some folks. Wow. All right, if you've been live on NetSuite for 3 months or more, please sit down. Oh, this is exciting.
Wow.
All right. All right, if you've been live on NetSuite for 2 months or more, please sit down. All right, if you've been live on NetSuite for 1 month or more, please sit down. Awesome. All right, if you've been live on NetSuite for 2 weeks or more, please sit down. If you've been live on NetSuite for 1 week or more, please sit down. This is amazing. All right, you guys are our newest customers.
Newest customers, round of applause.
Welcome to NetSuite.
Wow.
For everybody that's been on NetSuite for less than a week, been live on NetSuite, come see us. We'll get you a little something. All right? So thank you all very much. We've never done that before. I thought that was really pretty fun to get an idea of who's in the audience.
Amazing. I love seeing that. And customers that come out of implementation and go live, this is a challenging time. This is a unique time. You want to make sure that your users are comfortable with change. They're adopting the system. They're excited about it. There's so many things to think about. You want to make sure everything's run smoothly. But at the same time, you want to think about where do you go next? How do you take things further? How do you build that broader foundation with NetSuite? a lot of you and myself as a customer included really wanted better visibility out of the system, and you want to kind of think about, well, how do you take advantage of all of those reporting capabilities and the visibility we saw from what Evan shared earlier this morning in areas like inventory control, customer service, or CRM, or compliance. You might be exploring new areas of the suite to help figure out how to use them to drive your growth plans or to help you scale more efficiently and grow. In some cases, you might also be in just a transitionary period, trying to figure out how do you get off your old ERP system, migrate off it, and get onto NetSuite. Well, regardless, there's always excitement and eagerness to help you get more out of NetSuite. And this is what this session is all about, right? How do we help you throughout your journey with NetSuite to really adapt, adopt, and achieve your business goals through the power of the suite?
So we thought we'd each share a little bit of our first implementation story. So this is a little bit embarrassing. So my very first implementation, not with NetSuite, was we worked really hard. I was with a new group, and we worked really hard with the training and the customization and the testing and the development and the process and the change management. We thought we'd had all the bases covered. So Monday morning on Go Live, we roll in, and it's we get there, 8 and 9, there's no calls coming in. We're like, all right, we educated people. This is really good. Between 9 and 10, we don't get any calls. We're like, well, we kind of educated people, so expect it. 10 and 11, still no calls, and now we're like, well, this is weird. So about 11 o'clock, the DBA, or administrator, rolled in and said, yeah, we forgot to change the link from test to production. So that was my very first Go Live. Not super successful from that point, but what it explains is it explains the importance of the detail. So we were a new group of consultants that had been put out on a client and that didn't have the depth of knowledge to just check this, a checklist, a small thing. And so what we're talking about with our group of folks here today, our customers that are going to come up on stage, is how do you get to the details? How do you get that expertise? How do you get to the point, where all of those little things are taken care of? And we're going to talk about Advanced Customer Support, or ACS, and we're going to talk about Learning Cloud Service, or LCS, a little bit, and how that works together.
So for me as a CFO, I loved all of the functionality of NetSuite, and we want to get that going. But as a new customer to NetSuite, the big thing for me was, and keep in mind that I work in a small education startup, and we're rapidly growing. We had hundreds of education centers. The challenge is always to get visibility on how do we kind of figure out and know what our profitability is across those centers. It was hard to make decisions. So for NetSuite, I was really, really keen to kind of figure out how to put the reporting capabilities at work. And that was a real game changer for us, because with NetSuite, we put our revenue and our costs all on one platform. And it was really easy for us to see the visibility on which centers were profitable, which ones were not, and that really helped us make some of our investment decisions on where we should be expanding, where we should be consolidating, and so that was a real game changer for us. Now, back then, we didn't have ACS, we didn't have LCS, and we had to figure this out for ourselves, and today, we do have these amazing services that kind of work with you, and this session is all about kind of giving you kind of the experience on how do we work with customers. We have some amazing customer speakers coming up that'll kind of talk about how they work with us to figure out what their unique challenges are, what their opportunities are, and as a team, how do we work together to help you achieve that. So I'm excited to have them up here shortly.
Great. Thanks for that, Reg. So when we talk about keys to success, with people being in that less than 2-year period, maybe a little bit more, you're beginning to think about things, and Evan covered a lot of them at the keynote. Rapid growth, changing inventory requirements, changing reporting requirements. A lot of that, how do you get ready for that? Not only that, but right after you go live, how do you create better user adoption? How do you educate the team? How do you get your team all speaking the same language? ACS, LCS, NetSuite is full of acronyms. Part of this, the training, the education, how do you get everybody together? And that's one of the things we're going to talk about today.
And the good news is we're not going to leave you alone to do all of this. And this is where we're here to help you. We're here to work with you. And this session is all about figuring out how do you leverage us and how do our customers, your peers, have really leveraged us to get the most out of NetSuite, work with us through their critical early years with NetSuite. And you're going to hear some great advice from them. You're going to hear some of the challenges they face, some of their success stories, and what were some of the biggest drivers of the success that they had within their organizations.
So when we boil it down, we come up with 3 things. We come up with education, expertise, trusted expertise, of course, and optimization.
And let me break down the first one for you, education. Now, this shouldn't be just a one-and-done thing during a go-live. It's not, let's train everyone and you're off and running. We really want to make sure that education stays with you throughout your journey with NetSuite. And maintaining that ongoing learning action plan to help you leverage education throughout your journey is an absolute critical part to your success. You know, it's kind of how you can make sure that you're adopting the most of the suite as much as you can. You're uncovering new features and how to leverage that in your business. And also the amazing thing we hear from our customers is that they uncover a ton of hidden gems along the way. Now, the second one is all about trusted expertise. And this is where you want to make sure that you have mechanisms in place to help you address your issues really quickly and efficiently. And you want to make sure you have that peace of mind that you're staying one step ahead, there aren't any system impediments, and your business is running smoothly. And this is where a trusted partner like at ACS can really help you succeed. It's a hands-on service that provides that continuous monitoring, helps to quickly discover and resolve any issues or time-sensitive issues in a real-time basis. It also helps make sure that it's providing those trusted avenues for you to build that network of support and kind of give you that peace of mind through leveraging our trusted expertise.
So when we think of optimization, you know, again, one of our, Nick will come up and chat a little bit about rapid growth. You know, we think about optimization. One of the examples we had was, what if your business increases by 50%? And everybody's like, well, okay, that's great, but that hardly ever happens. Well, it does happen, right? So you have that. But what about in today's economy when you have situations with supply chain? We heard about from one of our speakers this morning about supply chain issues. You know, being able to understand your options, being able to expand quickly to whether it's to buy another warehouse, he was talking about expanding his inventory, or to be able to change, be able to evaluate your cash position, all of that to be able to help you optimize NetSuite. The more information you have at your fingertips, the better you're going to perform as a business and the better growth you're going to have. And that's what one of the things we're going to talk about with the customers that have come up here, and they're going to talk about growth.
Well, let's bring them up, shall we, Nat?
All right.
All right. First up, I'd like to welcome Shawna Veal from FarmChem.
Shawna, come on down.
Welcome, Shawna. It's great having you here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Well, why don't we start off with you telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, and tell us a little bit about FarmChem as well.
Okay. So my name is Shawna Veal. I am the CFO of FarmChem. We are based out of Fort Worth, Texas, and we do a drug testing sweat patch. So it's almost like a big Band-Aid that's worn on the arm for 7 to 10 days. It collects the sweat of the wearer, and then it's sent to the lab to do the tests on whatever drugs this person ingested. And it's harder to fool than it is urine testing, sweat testing, and hair testing because it collects it for the 7 to 10 days, which captures a day before, and so the individual has a harder time faking this test. So I'm the CFO of FarmChem, and I've been there for 5 years. Before that, I was in public accounting for probably 13 years, and then I switched to private. So it's a little bit about both.
Thank you, Shawna. So tell us a little bit about, after you went live on NetSuite, how did you sort of kickstart your journey? What are some of the things that happened?
So we went live 1/1 of this year after about 8 months of development and customization due to our invoicing process. So we utilized the LCS system, the LCS training. We got hooked up with a trainer, Darlene Kendrick, who was amazing. She did live sessions with us, with our sales team. She went in and actually learned our system, learned our customizations, learned how our processes worked, and then trained our people on how to use the system, which helped because it wasn't just an out-of-the-box system that didn't replicate what we actually have live. That amazed me. She learned our system within a week, which I thought was amazing. She's been around to help with questions. If I have questions, anything that, since I'm an admin, I kind of tend to think that I know more than I do. I'll go in and try and do something, and lo and behold, I screw something up. So I'll contact her and be like, what did I do? How do I fix it? And she's been amazing. So I highly recommend LCS.
That's amazing.
So one of the things that's interesting is I think a lot of people see LCS as just on-demand courses, but it seems to be much more than that.
Yes, so the on-demand is there if you have questions. I've also tried to utilize that for other things I tried to do. But yeah, if you don't know about the live training sessions, I would look into it because they're helpful, they're amazing. We brought a new CEO on board, and he's going to do a live training session to learn the system as well. So it can be used for a whole bunch of different things.
Amazing. So Darlene helped you get up and running with NetSuite. She helped you kind of through your challenges on an ongoing basis. You're leveraging on-demand learning, live events. Now, how do you think this type of training approach has helped drive productivity at FarmChem?
So we had a relatively new sales team when we went live on the system. So I think having them go through the live training to learn our system, learn how it worked, help them know exactly how to put the orders in, exactly how to use the CRM system, so they could be productive right out of the gate. You know, they were still learning FarmChem, so now they just learned our system, kind of learning everything all at one time. So I think it was beneficial to have the live sessions with Darlene to help them.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Thank you, Shawna. So what advice do you think you might have for any of our newish customers you saw there? I think there was almost 20 people that have been in live on NetSuite for just a week, or longer. What would you say to those customers?
Yeah, so I saw a few people that were in the less than 1 week category, which is amazing. I genuinely recommend LCS. The live sessions, I recommend those also. They have done wonders for us, for our sales team, for me, just so everybody gets on the same page and learns the system, how it's supposed to be used, rather than having an admin like myself go through it quickly and kind of have to fake your way through it until you figure it out.
That's great. Thank you very much, Shawna.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Shawna.
Appreciate
that. Thank you, guys.
So it's interesting to hear, not only is LCS more than just the on-demand, but you're hearing it sort of from a CFO, so any levels of the company are really benefiting from this. It's not just for sort of end-user training. It's so, again, like I said before, it's everybody can get on the same page.
And what I loved was, Nat, that she didn't just kind of look at it as a one and done.
Yeah.
She kind of invested and invested her time in leveraging all of those educational assets throughout her journey with NetSuite and driving that ongoing productivity. So that was amazing.
Awesome. All right, our next guest.
Yeah, here we go with our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Nick Schwartz.
Nick, come on down. That's my favorite.
How are y'all?
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Nick.
So, Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about Happy Feet International and what you do?
So Happy Feet International is a flooring company that's based out of Tennessee and Georgia. And we sell luxury vinyl plank, which we have both commercial and residential. And an interesting fact, I can regale you with flooring, but you'll be bored. You'll be bored, trust me. This facility is 550,000 square feet.
This facility?
This facility is, and we sold enough flooring to redo it 81 times last year.
Wow. So, just last year?
Just last year. Wow. So when we look to do about a 30% increase to that, I believe, this year. So. Wow. Really, you touched on the growth, and that's one of those things. As for me, I've been with the company for 3 years. I'm their CIO, and we have, I've had about 22 years experience in the tech industry, just in general, mostly small business, medium-sized businesses, helping them get their tech stack in order or starting a new one, per se, or just helping them get, processes in the right place and making sure that they can function long-term without someone. It was mostly on-site tech type stuff and consulting, but helping them function without me after that. And then I've been on this company for 3 years. It's been wonderful, absolutely amazing company. So.
Terrific.
Amazing. So fast-growing company, a lot of challenges that you're kind of addressing along the way. I'll ask you, Nick, the same question I asked Shawna. Tell me about your experience after you went live. What were some of the things that kind of helped you really get kick-started on your journey with NetSuite?
We had a lot of internal struggles, to be perfectly honest with you. We had a lot of change management stubbornness, which I'm sure people here can relate to. We had a sales team that was almost entirely unfamiliar with technology. They don't use it in their general life. They don't use it in their day-to-day business stuff either. It was a lot of writing on note paper, things like that. And then just in general, we had processes built on antiquated systems that they don't compare. It was a system built in 1998. And obviously does not compare to NetSuite in any way, shape, or form. The biggest struggle we had with that, so we, with the learning and everything else, we went out and we were like, we got to get good consultants. We had to do it quickly. We knew we had to change. We had to do it so quick because last year 2020 when the pandemic hit, the DIY project numbers that were going on across America, 4 or 5 times what they used to be. And we sell something directly related to those project numbers. And we went from, I would say, when I started at the company in 2019, we were doing something about 3 to 350 shipments a week of product, and we ballooned up to 700 to 800 now. Wow. So we didn't really have time to sit around and do it. And what we found was, as we went out and you know, I'm going to use a negative word here, but the partners that we had prior to working with some NetSuite people, which is who I want to talk about, was crap. It was just generally crap. There was nothing good about it. I'm not sure I got deliverables from some of them. So, and then our rep, Emily Beggs, who's an amazing rep, by the way, absolutely amazing rep. She really helped us focus in on some things, and ACS was one of those things, the Advanced Customer Support. And we got started with them, and then we, you know, my team we're the support team for the entire company, miscellaneous and tech and operational. So we have to deal with across the board challenges. And we have to talk through, you know, we have to be able to intelligently talk about that to other people, for one, so we have to know what we're doing. And a lot of the people that we worked with didn't want to give us the information because they wanted us to continue to use them. So we didn't have that available for us when we first started out. And once we got over to ACS, they were super happy, and of course we have LCS as well. Mm-hmm. They were super happy to teach us how to do it, so the next time we went to go do that same problem or we had to troubleshoot or something like that, we could just handle it. And that's how we like to operate, so we can give them project, they can teach us how to do it, and then we can move on to the next stuff and we can grow together as a team. So
that's terrific. So one of the things you said was that you didn't have ACS right after you went live. You got ACS a little bit after. What happened in that meantime that sort of pushed you, or after Emily educated you, discussed with you to move to ACS?
Emily got a very bad phone call from Nick one day. So as I said, the other parties were crap. And I'll tell you, I wasted about $40,000, $50,000 with these guys. And I tell you, it was just trash. We went through and we're talking to a guy, and about midway through one of our projects with him, he was like, well, you need a whole bunch of licenses. And we were like, well, that's an odd statement since we're halfway through and not sure why we would need new licenses. So he kept talking about it, and of course I'm like, Emily, what's going on? Why do I need these licenses? Can you get me pricing? I'm in the middle of a project. And you know, she got right on it. And then she came back, I think it was maybe 24 hours later. She had a quote set up for me, but she also had her manager on the call, and she had, what I found out later on, was a member of the ACS team. And she was like, hey, before we do all this, can you kind of explain this to my guy and see, you know, what his thoughts are on it? So we went through the whole thing, and about 30 minutes later, the guy's like, yeah, so basically you don't really need to have those licenses. You can do that stuff right over here. We can help you set it up, or you can set it up yourself, and that's it. And we were like, oh, well, if you'll excuse me, I got to go fire some people. Hold on a second. So that was really where we started with it. And then, of course, directly after that, we did, and in fact, fire our other third-party vendors and went direct with ACS. In fact, at the last Suite World. So.
Wow.
Amazing. I mean, it's great to see kind of how you started working with that trusted advisor and build that relationship over time. I mean, we saw so many new customers in the room here. What would you say was a key to success for you with NetSuite?
Trust in your partners. If those partners aren't asking you how you do your business, how you operate, and everything else, get rid of the partner. Plain and simple. They're trash. They're not going to help you long term. I say that a lot because I want to say other words that I can't say in this crowd. But if they're not interested in the success of your company, then there's no reason that you're never going to be successful as a team, for one. And two, there's no reason for you to be interested in the success of the things that you're doing if they're not also interested, because they're the ones driving the training. They're driving your system usage. And if you can't rely on them to help drive that and tell you about the massive amount of features that you guys have that we know, as an average user, I know nothing about these features. It's their job to keep informed of that and let us know what's going on and say, hey, I don't know why you're doing it this way when you could just be doing it this way. And we didn't have partners to do that when we started out. And now we have a partner that literally is like, yeah, you should stop doing that. Or, hey, just go over here. It's okay. We'll take care of this for you.
So I just have one more question for you.
No.
So we talked a little, believe it or not, we've actually talked, but just this is the first time we've talked. You'd mentioned that some of the first phone calls were pretty boring.
Yeah.
But you felt that they were important. So I think that's important to say, that it's the getting to know you stage that isn't always the most exciting. So can you just say a little bit about
of course,
that?
yeah. And the first, you'll have about 3 months worth of calls, or well, not every week, but you'll have calls spread out over a couple of months with the ACS team. And I will tell you, they're entirely boring. And there's nothing they can do about that. It's not their fault. It is the nature of that type of phone call. But they are absolutely the most important one, and I would recommend people who are doing that, if your entire deployment teams aren't getting on those, or at least the manager of those teams are not getting on those calls, they should. They really should. It helps a lot to get them. Like, we did all those calls, and I mean, they were literally like, how do you place a sales order? Like, okay, well, here's how we do it. You know, it's like, okay, well, how do you make it an item fulfillment? All right, well, we click your item fulfillment button, you know, and you feel dumb during the call, but at the same time, the next calls right after that, they're like, yep, we can go ahead and fix that project for you. Here's where we're going to do it. We just need your approval. Here's how many hours it's going to take. Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Awesome.
So,
Nick, one thing I found really interesting, we were talking beforehand, was how you did some of your own training on LCS. You leveraged LCS, and then you kind of felt, well, I'll kind of let you tell how you leverage that with your work with ACS.
So I've always talked about them being a perfect thing, and I don't know if the quote's up there. I can't see it right now. But one of the biggest things, the challenges that you're talking to these teams is you may speak about something, and they may speak about some completely different. In that situation I talked about earlier when I first met ACS, that's exactly what was going on. We referred to something differently, and they were so eager to not do the work that they literally were like, hey, you need licenses, we can't do anything until you're done. And it wasn't. It was a conversation to go, yeah, we got it wrong, we're sorry, here's how you do this here. But if you're not talking on the same language, if you're not talking the same naming convention, nomenclature, however you want to say it, LCS and ACS can help you do that together and really have a conversation that is empowering to your business and not detrimental, as living testament of it wasn't the first few good months. So,
Excellent.
Thank you, Nick.
thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nick.
So that really goes back, Nick's conversation sort of takes us back to the idea of, the journey. I was talking about the
It really
beginning,
does, yeah.
Right, the journey. And, it's the importance of sort of establishing that relationship with, he said, you heard it here first, they're not exciting, but important calls. I thought that was really interesting.
Amazing. All right, well, we have our third customer speaker up, so I would like everyone to join me in welcoming Madison Farnsworth.
Madison, come on down. Well, technically, it's up. It's down.
All right.
Hello.
Hi, welcome, Madison.
Thank you.
Great to have
Happy
you
be
here. And how about we start by sharing a little bit about your background, tell us a little bit about Sitecore and what you do there.
Yeah, so I work at Sitecore. My name is Madison. Nice to meet you. Sitecore is a digital composable end-to-end DXP platform that empowers its brand to have an unforgettable connection with their customers. I've been at Sitecore for a year now. My background is in accounting, about 12, 13 years now, working in accounting, mostly internal, and have worked for a number of companies that have been on smaller ERPs, larger ERPs, also NetSuite. One of the companies I worked at was on NetSuite and gave me a NetSuite administrator role, which is not recommended. But it gave me a lot of opportunity to look and dig into our NetSuite environment and understand how our transactions were actually impacting the GL, and being able to explain that to our CFO, to our end users, and create reports for them, and kind of understanding that helped me become a better system administrator. So from there, took classes with NetSuite and became administrator certified, so the role was then appropriate. And then went into consulting, working with companies implementing NetSuite, also with companies that had been on NetSuite for a number of years, and helping them with any pain points that they had by really harnessing the power of NetSuite. So after I went into consulting, went back into industry, now at Sitecore, and my role there is managing the financial system architecture, which really centers around NetSuite.
Amazing. So a really rich history in NetSuite, in helping other customers succeed. and then Sitecore, which has such a big scale. Now you've been with Sitecore's been with NetSuite for 9 years, so Madison's going to bring a really unique perspective as not necessarily a newish customer, but someone who's kind of been with NetSuite for a while. And I think you're going to love hearing some of her stories. That's really going to resonate with our newish customers. So when you started first with NetSuite, what did you do to help gain some traction?
Yeah, so I think my unique journey with NetSuite is a lot of companies I've worked on have been on NetSuite for many years. So 5, 6, 7+ years. Sitecore has been on NetSuite since 2013. And so there is a lot of growth, expansion, different organizations and people impacting NetSuite and the financials kind of doing their own thing. And so, when I started, I spent a lot of my time at Sitecore understanding, Sitecore is such a global company. We have 27 offices globally. We've got 2,000 employees. So really understanding which each region was doing, using NetSuite, maybe not using NetSuite, and what their pain points were, and how we could really come together and utilize NetSuite the way that we should be using it. So one of the first questions that I was asked while I was figuring out what was happening with our NetSuite was, how are we going to clean this up? And so I hired. We started with hiring our team internally. So I managed a small team, and then I also looked to hiring outside of our team and looked towards ACS. ACS was kind of a no-brainer for me. We needed someone with NetSuite functional experience, not only just development, but actually knowing and understanding the capabilities of NetSuite and the configuration that NetSuite has to offer. So I talked to our CFO, and it was very cost-effective, and we could onboard them really quickly, and it was a very easy sell. So they were able to help us with understanding what our NetSuite was doing. And then on top of that, helping us clean up some of the configuration that was there, some of the scripts that were in there that no one quite understood what they were doing, which really helped my team have a little bit more faith as well in kind of using the system, how it should be used.
So one of the things we've talked a little bit about is, as you've sort of aggregated some of those processes, did you have the experience in sort of trying to do that in an international or doing different localizations, different components of that to help the growth of Sitecore?
Yes, absolutely. So again, while I started, we were opening more offices across Europe. In 2021, we also acquired 4 companies. And so it was just a lot of expansion, really quickly, really fast, and just get it done right now kind of mentality. We work in a similar environment, I'm sure you can sympathize. And so, we worked with ACS kind of tangentially with my team to add localization to NetSuite, whether that was kind of the native NetSuite localization, or if it wasn't available, they would recommend a third party we could work with. And so it was really helpful to manage the day-to-day that was going on, and kind of the main functions of NetSuite and our accounting team, and then also working with ACS to help us get all of the data migration from these acquisitions, and also stand up localization to get that stood up so we could transact with these new entities in Sitecore.
Sure.
Wow. I mean, you have such a vast experience with NetSuite. What would be your sort of top piece of advice for the customers that are newish to NetSuite here?
So the main thing I've learned and I would recommend is to rely on configuration as much as possible over customization. That was actually mentioned in one of the classes I attended earlier today about change management, how you help end users adopt the system. Configuration, NetSuite has really good out-of-the-box configuration. That's one of the things I loved about NetSuite when I first started using it and got so excited about it. And so, which is why it's also really good to work with trusted advisors, right, that understand that functionality of NetSuite. And then from there, you can kind of build on top of that. And also the nice thing about NetSuite is the biannual releases, new functionality that's being presented during those new releases. And then for us, working with ACS while they were helping us, let us know like, hey, you're using your intercompany functionality, but there's this new one over here that you haven't really looked at. It came out a year ago, and I was like, I had no idea. Like, thank you. Like these little things along the way that you constantly need someone in your ear kind of prodding you to best practices. So definitely configuration wherever possible. Customization is also helpful, but configuration is really key to growth. And it's also easier to manage for non-functional people. So, I think ACS as well as LCS, I would highly recommend, even for myself, I did pre-event training courses back in the day, which helped me get certified and helped me understand financial reporting, safe searches, all the things that really helped me succeed in my roles. Would definitely recommend to anyone new or has been on NetSuite for a number of years.
That's great. Thank you so much, Madison.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madison.
It's just that continuing theme.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. It's. I loved how Madison, takes her immense knowledge of NetSuite, but also remembers that you don't want to just customize for the sake of it, right? And I think the ability for her to not overly customize makes it much more easy for her to take on and adapt to the new features. And I remember when I was a customer, that was one of the pieces of advice I got from an older customer at the time as well. That just the dangerous path you walk through, spend the time on change management, and it just makes such a big difference for you longer term. So it was amazing to hear that.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of change management conversation up here. Just so you know, there's a talk on the Learning Lab tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Anybody that's interested in change
Come
management.
and see us. If you loved this show, are you gonna love that?
Oh yeah, we're
just
giving
as much.
that too. That's one of the reasons.
We'll get that too.
Go ahead, Rich.
Well, I love hearing from all three customers on how they're leveraging NetSuite, our partnerships with ACS, LCS to grow their business. Nat, we put this slide back up with the key success factors. I saw each of these three kind of really shine through as each of them spoke in similar ways, but also in different ways as well. How about you? What were a couple of things you took away from them?
I'm just going to go back to kind of what I said at the beginning. I think it's about two words, if I just picked them, would be relationship and experience. Each of the individuals talked about LCS or ACS bringing about a certain type of expertise, of experience. With Nick, ACS was able to come in and help him save some money. With Shawna, they were able to come in, get her team speaking the same language, get everybody up to speed with some custom courses. Madison went right through the whole gamut of basically all of that in her experience. But even if you have the right expertise, it doesn't matter a lot unless you have the relationship. And I talked about that at the beginning. One of the things that excites me about being a part of NetSuite is that we are here for the long haul. And it's not just, it's not just because we're super awesome people or whatever and it's altruistic. It's the idea that we're a cloud company. We want our customers to be happy. It benefits you, it benefits us. This is our future together. And so we want to create a road. We've got 32,000 customers that we've got to make happy. And we do that with the idea of building the strong relationship, of having the right expertise on call for you to do it, not only to be able to help solve your problem, but also to be able to educate you on solving that problem so that, Nick talked about it, that working together to say, this is how you fix that for the next time. This is how you fix that. We want to make sure that you're empowered, you're enabled to go through and solve your own problems.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, for me, and education is very close to my heart. So I love seeing how all three really leverage education, the power of ongoing education. You heard from Nick about how he leveraged LCS and learned more about NetSuite. And that really enabled him to have really constructive, meaningful conversations with his ACS team and drove towards that stronger partnership and kind of led to that ongoing productivity and efficiency that he was able to drive. Madison, you just heard like a long tenure with NetSuite. She became certified. She did a bunch of pre-conference training. And she really leveraged in helping Sitecore to expand globally. I mean, global expansion, so much complexity coming in, and having that foundation in education really helped her drive success with Sitecore. And Shawna, as our newest customer, has really kind of immersed herself in education as well, not just thinking of it as a one and done kind of a thing, but you kind of heard from her in her experience about leveraging our teams and really embracing education, helping build those success plans, validating their plans, and using it to kind of drive their success through their journey. As Nat said, I also loved hearing how all three really focused on driving that ongoing. I love that ongoing focus on let's keep improving, let's keep leveraging new features, let's keep driving that optimization. And it's amazing to see how well they leverage the partnership with ACS to help them achieve that.
And it was interesting listening to Nick talk and then comparing it to Ship Central. I think it was that Evan talked about.
At the
so I'm
Keynote.
sure Nick will be stopping by the demo
right.
booth for that. So what's next? So we've covered this. So I hope you have enjoyed hearing from Reg and I, from Shawna, Nick, and Madison. So where do we go from here, right? What's next? So we want to talk about the advanced customer support, the opportunities. It's I must have accidentally clicked something there. See what that happens. All right, I'll put that down. So when we talk about advanced customer support, we're talking about a hands-on group of folks with deep expertise, not only in NetSuite, but also in your industry or the specific vertical that you're in to really help you engage with that. And we talk about learning cloud support, which is, again, not just on-demand classes that are video, but there are live events around the year. There are trainers available to do custom training built on your processes, built on the system, the way you use NetSuite. And so it's pretty exciting to do that. And it's all available right here in SuiteWorld.
Absolutely. And the Learning Lab is now in session. This is really exciting for us here at Education Services. You can experience both of these services, both ACS and LCS. First of all, we're showcasing our Learning Cloud service for the first time at SuiteWorld. Those of you that have been before, this is the first time we have the NetSuite Learning Lab. It's now in session. You can really experience all of the features of the LCS Company Pass right in this space. So to get there, it's in room 411, so just remember, 411 Education, right by the expo hall. And you can meet with our amazing team of education advisors. They're there to consult with you one-on-one, give you some guidance about where you might be wanting to explore from an education perspective, help you create a learning action plan. We have a bunch of hands-on workshops that we're running on all sorts of amazing topics across the product. And then we also have the LCS Live Lounge, which is kind of an informal space. Come on down, have a seat, and hear from some of our product experts, joining some of those interactive discussions. Nat and I will be there tomorrow as well, running one of those change management.
Not that it's important.
Probably the highlight of the LCS Learning Lab. So please come on down, room 411.
That's great. See, I can't touch this anymore because something's going to go wrong. All right. So finally, this is one of the things I'm particularly excited about. This is new to SuiteWorld. This is called the ACS Inspection Report. So every customer at SuiteWorld or on air is entitled to an inspection report. It's there to look at your optimization, look at who and how many people are using NetSuite, look at your use of NetSuite, and it's customized to you. It's not a random sampling of just that we just pulled together, everybody gets the same one. It's unique to you. We're looking at the way you use your system. And you can find those at the Advanced Customer Support Lounge in the Expo Hall. We're super excited about it. We really hope you guys will stop by and take a look at the inspection report that was created for you. Also, Evan did note that there is 25% off. I'm required to say this. 25% off until November, end of November, for anybody that starts a new ACS subscription. So really looking forward to seeing you all there. And thank you all very much for coming. Reg and I will be up here with our guests if anybody has any additional questions or thoughts. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, everyone.